Hey folks, this is Aleki, and you're watching Stationeers for Beginners. Before we get into construction, it's useful to know what items you need in order to build something. Stationeers makes it easy to find out by providing you with an in-game encyclopedia that covers all the items and gases that are present in the game. You can access it by pressing F1. This will bring up the Stationpedia window, and in it you have a table of contents on all the topics that are present in the Stationpedia, but you can also search for specific items. One of the cornerstones of building structures in Stationeers is the frame. So if we search for iron frame, we get these results. You'll see that you have iron frames, which is the inventory item, and then you will have iron frame, which is the item as built into the world. If I want to find out what I need in order to build this iron frame in my world, I can click on it, and in the details of the iron frame, I will see that it is constructed from iron frames. That's the item we also saw in the results a moment ago. And then I will see the build states this item goes through. In Stationeers, when you build something, you may need to place down the base item and then add certain additional items and use specific tools on it to help it transition through multiple build states. Some items don't have multiple build states, but a lot of them do. For the iron frame, this tells us that we are going to place one iron frame down, and that will give us this skeletal version of the iron frame. This will provide some structure, but it will not hold in any gases, and you can simply walk or fall through it. Then if we use the welding torch plus an iron sheet, then it will become this more filled in version of the frame, though this one will still not be airtight. It will be walkable and block movement. And if you again use the welding torch with an iron sheet, you will get the final form of the iron frame, which is fully filled in, and it is airtight, as well as something that you can build and walk on. So any item that you see in the game, you can find here, and you can look it up, find out what you need to craft in order to have the materials to build it, as well as what tools and other materials you need in order to complete the build. One useful thing with the Stationpedia, here at the top right, you have this pause button. If you click that, while you are having this window open, the game will stay paused. You'll have to re-click that button each time you reopen the Stationpedia, but this allows you to take your time, study the items available, make a list of materials you may need to gather, and not worry that you are consuming resources, running out of oxygen, or that time is passing in the game. So without further ado, let's grab an iron frame and let's start building to see how this actually works. I have in my active hand a stack of iron frames. If I right click, then I get this ghostly representation of an iron frame that allows me to see where I will place it. As you can see, it tracks my mouse. If I don't want to place it just yet, I can right click again and it'll disappear. But let's see about placing it. So you can clip items, particularly frames, into the ground. This is very useful because it makes it a lot easier to build a structure that you will be able to walk on and not have to use your jetpack just to get to your front door. So in order to place it, I will hold the left click, and now I have the first stage of the frame placed. Since I have an entire stack of them, I can place another one and another until I'm done, and I right click to cancel the build. In order to build it and move it to the first stage, I need to put iron sheets in one of my hands, And then I need to move the welding torch to my active hand and use the welding torch while holding those iron sheets in my other hand. So if you recall, the welding torch requires to be turned on. I do that with right click. And after a moment, it becomes able to be used for welding. And I will hold the left click, and that performs the build action, consuming one of the iron sheets and moving the frame that I'm pointing at to its second build stage. For this frame, let's fully build it to its final build stage that allows it to be airtight. So I'll hold left and let it go through the construction twice. Remember to turn off your welding torch since it does consume fuel. And for now we can put it away. As you can see, there is a clear graphical distinction between the three types of iron frame. And you can also see that the fully built one, I can walk on it. It is also airtight. The partially built one, I can walk on it. However, it is not airtight. And the one that is just the iron frame placed without any additional iron sheets, I will simply fall through it. So it is not suitable to use as a floor or to contain anything. Walls are another important structural item in Stationeers. You build them using the kit iron wall. When you right click with this kit, you will see the ghostly outline of a wall. Unlike frames, walls only take one side of the grid cube. As such, you will need to rotate them to the correct position before placing them. You can do that with the C key, for which the game will guess as to what rotation you may want, and cycles through several valid ones. Or you can take direct control of the rotation and use the insert, delete, home, and page up and page down keys on your keyboard to rotate around specific axes. For example, the home and end keys allow you to move the item to the top of the cube, to the side, or to the bottom. As you may notice, walls can be used as floors and ceilings as well as walls. It's important to note, though, that walls do not confer all the same structural benefits of a frame. There will be items that you come across that can be installed only on a frame, and the wall floor will not be sufficient as support. The iron wall kit allows you to build 5 different types. The first 4 are purely cosmetic in difference and our normal wall. The 5th one is a window. The window will allow sunlight to pass through, so it could be used in front of a solar panel or plants to allow them to receive sunlight. Once you have decided the type of wall that you want to place, simply click and hold your left mouse button until it appears. Let's place a couple of different types of walls so you can see the cosmetic differences, as well as a window. As I mentioned, walls can be used as floors and ceilings. You can place a wall as a floor even if it is not supported by frames. And you can place one as ceiling or simply floating in the air. Like frames, walls are another item that can be embedded into the voxel terrain. You are able to build them partially into the ground. So let's see how to actually build one of these walls. You are to approach the unbuilt wall with a tool, let's say this, grab the wire cutters, and point at the wall. It will tell you that you need 1 iron sheets to continue construction or an angle grinder to deconstruct. In this case, we want to continue construction, so I will grab my iron sheets, and since it did not say we need a specific tool, we can simply add them by clicking and holding directly onto the wall. The window also takes 1 iron sheet. At this point, the walls are fully built. They are airtight, and there are no further build states for the wall. For the window, as you can see, we are missing the glass. It does not block movement and definitely does not block gases from passing through. To complete a window, you will need to also add a glass sheet. Again, grab the glass sheet, point to the frame of the window, and now we have a fully built window that doesn't allow me or gases to pass through. One of the first machines that you will build in Stationeers is the Autolathe. It is an item that you will always start the game with, usually in one of the crates on your lander. When you attempt to place the Autolathe, you will see that if you try to do so on terrain, in terrain, or even on top of a wall used as floor, the game will not let you place it. As the tooltip says, the placement requires a frame for support. So an Autolathe is one of the items that will require a floor made out of frames in order to be placed. You can rotate it for placement the same as for the walls. Over by this wall seems like a good place for our Autolathe. Not in the wall, just in front of it. Like frames and walls, the Autolathe also has multiple build states. In order to find out what you need, we can point to it with a tool, and if it's the wrong tool, then it will tell us in the tooltip what we need to continue construction or to deconstruct it. So let's grab the welding torch and 2 iron sheets, and we can weld up the first state. Now it tells us we need 4 cable coils to continue. Since it just asks for cable coils, we will just use them directly without the tool. Next, I can use the welding torch, but it tells me I need plastic sheets in the other hand. Which hand holds the tool and which hand holds the additional items does not matter. You can work left-handed or right-handed in Stationeers, and your character will be fine doing either. And after that, we need to use a screwdriver. And here it is, a completed Autolathe. Aside from the full-size grid, Stationeers also has a subgrid. This tends to be unique compared to many other construction games. Small items, for example this power controller, only take up one of the subgrid squares, but have to be mounted on a frame, or in the case of the power controller, can also be mounted on the wall. Each side of the grid has a 3x3 subgrid present, as well as an extra grid spot which straddles the gap between 2 grid squares. Let's place this area power controller, as we will use it in a later tutorial to connect electrical power to the Autolathe. Many items in Stationeers can be interacted with in different ways. For example, if I grab a crowbar, I can open the cover of the area power controller. Items also have specific interaction zones. For example, the bulk of the area power controller does not interact with my bare hand. However, the switch does, and if I click it, I can flip the switch. Items often have inventory slots as well. For example, this socket allows you to put a battery in this area power controller. You can do so by dragging the item into that space. So let's grab a battery from my grinder, and dragging it from that to the socket adds it to the area power controller. This concludes our tutorial on construction. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a like. If you didn't, give it a dislike. Let me know in the comments what else you would like to see, and subscribe and click the bell so that you get a notification from YouTube next time I put one of these out. Thanks again, have a good day, and enjoy playing Stationeers.